short Kyler Murray joke.
I was about to say, like, guess who Tristan is?
If only I could run like a toddler. You know, I saw a meme once that says that Kyler Murray runs like the Scooby-Doo run sound effect. And I've seen him in a completely different manner.
Wish I could play that one. The marimba. Welcome to the back. The Outback.
It is August.
Steak and shrimp only for a limited time here at Outback Steakhouse. Not sponsored by Outback Steakhouse.
I don't even remember that. I don't think I've ever. Well, no, I have. I remember the last time. I do remember the last time. My dad choked on a steak at Outback Steakhouse, and that's why we've never gone back. It was like when I was 10.
I went in a small college town in New York.
Manhattan.
Vibey. No. It was not New York City.
It is August, so it is football month. Well, it's the beginning of football month.
Yes.
Football year. Football,
The Premier League started
football
just
lifetime.
a few days ago. So
That's
we
soccer. No, sorry. That's soccer.
for all you purists out there.
with our crazy R's. Soccer.
It's soccer.
It's soccer because you soccer it.
That was my favorite part of a soccer game is when the coach goes in the middle of the field and says, "It's soccer time." And he soccers all over the place.
Jeez, man. Oh my gosh. The catch of his life.
Justin Jefferson. The catch of his life. We're not wearing Vikings jerseys. You would not catch me.
Diggs. Sideline. Touchdown. Go ahead. Hit me with something.
Larry Fitz retired.
Yeah, that one actually was really sad. But we weren't going to win the Super Bowl that year anyways.
No, but you've never won one.
No. Do I think we ever will? No.
If only Trafford had gotten 20 straight clean sheets and J.J. Watt had come out of retirement, then maybe you could have had a chance.
You see, football is a delicate...
Football is life.
Football is a very delicate subject among men.
I'm throwing out references after references
Our
to
men,
just soccer. bro.
us as men, we pick teams, and then we stick to those teams for eternity. And most of the time, people pick these teams out of some logical, like the Seahawks won a lot.
Or they live nearby.
Yeah. No, see, I picked the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, because they were red. And not a day goes by that I wish that I never would have turned on that Super Bowl, because that's the day I decided. I love them. No, don't let me know, Murph. Stop. What are you doing? It's been a rough, when was that? 2008? 2009?
Yeah, 2010 was when the Saints won.
So 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been 17 years of heartbreak. Now I know what it feels like to be a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Well, at least the Cowboys had glory days.
Yeah, well, they haven't had glory days for longer than me and your lifetimes combined.
True. Sorry to not really that.
We're
sorry
talking
to
about
the
a
Cowboys
football thing today.
We're talking about Moneyball. These were the only
We're
sports
talking
attire
about
we
the
had.
big dance. The Michael Jordan doc.
Yeah, we're talking about Field of Dreams today.
Oh, wait. The Last Dance. Correction.
The big dance.
That's well, that's also basketball.
That's pretty much the nickname for every championship in sports. The big dance.
Okay.
Except for people playing soccer. There's too many championships to keep track of. Kidding. I love soccer. So does he. He played it, and I did a little bit. But I played football, and he also played football. And so we sticking with football, and we watched Remember the Titans. We're watching Remember the Titans, and we're going to talk about Remember the Titans. I'm talking a little faster because we've been wasting time.
I was going to come up with a quote there, but I don't think I can pull one off the top
All
of my
right.
head.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try not to do too much of a Denzel impression because mine's not that great, but it's very fun to try to do.
better
The
than
way
mine.
he speaks is really fun. So people at home, try to do a Denzel impression.
Well, it doesn't help that they all have the
I can't
southern
hear-
accent.
All right. Okay.
I can't do a southern accent. Like how they do it in the movie.
You miss a block, you run a mile. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts.
And then
And
you'll
then
run a
you will
mile.
run a mile. Let's go to work. Boom. That's how we'll start this video.
Background.
Background.
I watched this movie a lot growing up.
As did I.
We've briefly touched on this movie before in one of our previous podcast episodes. I believe it's fastest reviews in the West.
Either that one or my movie is better than your movie.
Yeah.
They're so similar, it's kind of easy to mix them up.
Yeah. We talked about this movie. I grew up, I didn't really get exposed to this movie until about like high school. Well, like end of middle school. Because end of middle school, we had a history teacher, Mr. Topham. Shout out. You're not listening to this.
Anyone who knows Mr. Topham, get him on this podcast.
He was one of my favorite history teachers because he would have 9/11 week, and that's where there's just a 9/11 documentary I think that the History Channel made that we would watch that I guess not 9/11 week, but it was like 9/11 month, so we would watch that the entire time
month for that.
Well, yeah, because it was a documentary that was like a couple episodes,
Oh, okay.
and you only go to class like
Yeah.
twice
40
every
minutes,
week.
45,
Yeah.
90 minutes each,
So we did that, and then once football season like got really into it, like October, we'd watch Remember the Titans. Like no teaching, no history, just all right, it's football season.
Civil rights.
Do you think of it? I actually think that's where he tied it in. The 60s. Watch this movie; it'll teach you everything you need
This
to know.
is American.
So I watched this movie a lot because of school.
I guess you watched it like broken up, huh?
Mhm.
So like would like the whole month, would that be watching single watching of Remember the
Yeah,
Titans?
we'd because that one was a little different. I do think actually it was during like the 60s era when they were going through the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
So I think we would watch like 30 minutes of it, and then he would take the last like 15 minutes of class and go over like the history behind the movie and what was going on and major movements going on at the time. So like he did actually a really good job like exposing us to that without just like reading out of a textbook. Like, hey, this is actually a pretty accurate depiction of what life was like. Plus also it's a movie I can show in school. Right. Because most movies that come out of that time are not children friendly. Because it's not really a children friendly era.
And no, late 90s, right into the beginning of the aughts when this came out.
Yeah.
Hollywood was definitely leaning more towards into like a lot more realism.
Mm-hmm.
Look at like Saving Private Ryan
Yeah.
and stuff. So like I can imagine. But
Yeah.
again, this was Disney movie, and this was their like they'd made sports movies before.
But this was like
this
what
was
put them like their sports I mean,
cemented them.
yeah.
Without Remember the Titans, we wouldn't have Air Bud. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm gonna.
But
Disney's only ever done a few good
did you
things.
see they're coming out with a new Air Bud?
Yes, I did.
Dead Bud. Isn't it? What's the storyline? I don't know.
Oh, like for the actual Air Bud
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah.
So,
No, the new
you-
one. The new
oh,
one.
I don't think they've come out with any
Darn.
plot points yet.
Rats.
I was straight up about to just explain Really
No, I know
briefly,
what
the
happens
plot
in
of Air
Air
Bud.
Bud.
His dad died in a plane crash. Keeps a newspaper. Bang.
Newspaper.
Newspaper. Newspaper.
Oh, this is my friend Cog.
Hello.
He reads the newspaper.
It's made of rooks.
So that's my background with this movie. Like, this is kind of, I want to say, like, I enjoyed football before this, obviously. But I will say that, like, Remember the Titans was probably one of the more influential movies that inspired me to actually try out football. Because not only does it, like, kind of address the issues going on at the time, but like its core message is like inspiration to do something even though you think you can't do it.
Yeah, be bigger than yourself
Yeah.
with others. Like brotherhood is a huge,
Yeah. Yeah.
like how it connects everything.
Yeah. So that alone kind of got me into football. I didn't stay in football for long after that. But
Yeah, well, I'm the same way, but I'm not like, I don't remember the Titans getting me to try out football. I just really wanted to because I was sick of playing recreation soccer.
fair.
And I liked football more.
Yeah.
But
Well, in football, just, I don't know what it is, but
what Latzik, the big white lineman, that guy, what he says in the cafeteria when he's like, you know, if I'm gonna go to school, I might as well hit some people while I'm at it. I felt that way when I first was trying football.
Yeah. I think I did football. It's gonna sound dumb, but growing up in Delta, like a small town, really. I mean, there's always politics in high school sports. You catch it in either side of the coin, right? But with the small towns, you don't usually play unless you have the right last name. And I was a move-in to Delta, so my family was fresh. So it was up to me to kind of like determine a name for my family, like for my brother and sister. And also like there was a little bit of like feeling of longing, right? Like I want to be able to do something. I want to be able to show to this small community that I too am good and worthy of attention when it comes to sports. And I actually believe that I was pretty good. I was really good and I had impressed a lot of the coaches, but I hurt my knee. I took a helmet face mask, like the crown of a helmet, to the front of the knee. And
Ow.
After that, that's when I was left with a decision of, do I continue playing this and really having a high chance of blowing my knee out, or do I focus on soccer? And because I was goalie, so there wasn't a lot of like running, and the contact that I did have was more shoulder because people aren't sliding at the goalie.
Yeah.
And if I'm sliding, then I'm sliding in a form that's not putting a lot of pressure on my knees.
Yeah.
So I chose to do the soccer route because it was more viable long term. But football I enjoyed. I loved it. There is no greater feeling than just cracking someone right on the side of the head with your football helmet.
Nothing better than targeting, folks. Greatest feeling in the world is watching a man not get up. Oh, okay, Tristan. Remind me not to get you mad.
Well, I mean, you did that.
Well, I was an offensive lineman, so I wasn't making. Let it be known, I was way better on defense, but my coach had favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Never put me on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Sucked. But I did my job. I was good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I never got to do more than, push some people over. But like there are some times where I feel like I kind of regret dropping out of football. It was mostly because I was at an extremely impressionable age, and like pretty much everybody, including my coaches, had like kind of anger issues that like need to be helped. not just like I'm angry and I'm going to take it out on the field. It's like I'm angry and I'm going to take it out on literally everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And my family is going to suffer because of it, kind of
Yeah.
issues. Like my coach had to be held back by the police in the one playoff game I got to play in. And like I had gotten like a minor concussion from getting a blindside hit on a punt return, and like it just like I didn't feel like that brotherhood. I didn't feel like I was able to really get along with a lot of my teammates, and it didn't feel like just a lot of nuance, but
that happens in football. I feel like getting into the science of football before we talk about this movie, like the whole concept of football is that it's a team sport and you're learning to rely on others. And that's, I feel like, part of the reason what makes football so fun to play, as at least trying to learn how to play football as a kid.
It's a
transition into that bigger football role.
Yeah, the strategy of football is like really interesting, and it really scratches a part of my brain. And that's another thing that like with this most recent rewatch of Remember the Titans that I was catching on to a little bit more, the actual strategy that they were showing them have. Like I never had like fully caught that Coach Boone's playbook was only 6 plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Given enough time, it always works.
Well, okay. My high school coaches must have learned that because they also ran the same 6 plays, but ours did not work.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure. We must have ran veer and shoot.
Yeah, all they were doing. Yeah, I don't remember too much of my playbook because I only needed to remember one part of every play, and that was the formation I was set up in. And that always came at the very beginning of the play, and I was like, I heard one phrase, I was like, okay, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I know if I'm pushing or pulling or if I'm going left or right. I know what's going on.
I will say, watching Remember the Titans, like, it inspires me to want to become a coach of football.
I know, and that's a toxic thing for it to give you, huh? Because obviously I bet you'd do great, but I'd be terrible. I can't really bring myself to really yell at a group of people.
No, but I feel like there's more to coaching than just yelling.
Well, I know, but I feel like that would be like the primary way of getting me heard, and I can't just be like, hey, man, get on the bench.
You're done. See that Gatorade over there? Why don't you go
Give me some.
Pour in some glasses.
Could you get me one?
Hydrate the team.
Make sure it's purple.
No, but this movie is, I don't know if it's old enough to be considered a timeless classic yet.
Well, it hits 25 in October.
Okay.
I would consider it. In the realm of sports movies,
okay.
I would.
See, I consider movies like Rudy.
That only came out like 5 years prior.
Either way, like, this movie is just a movie that just does really well at what it's trying to do, right? I know that probably out there's people that sports movies are not the move for them. They're not a fan of sports movies in any facet. They're not really sports people. So I can say that, like, this as a whole is a really very specific niche that, like, a group of people enjoy to watch. And within that small group of people, there's even smaller people who like watching football sports movies, right?
Yeah.
And there hasn't been a lot of those in the past. So I feel like this is one that always stands out because it portrays like the full emotion of football. Like, because there's some movies where they spend a lot of time on their personal life and they do a lot of like school life and stuff. But this movie just like is focusing on the bonds and the friendship and pushing past your limits and not giving yourself a vice to hold on to and breaking your own barriers,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of sports movies I feel like miss that, right? There always is like that last act where they push
Everything comes
themselves.
together
Yeah.
and it
But-
finally hits
but
and like they
this
enter their
movie's
flow state or whatever.
different than that
Yeah.
because its primary message is not like, hey, this is everything's gonna click and you just got to keep going. Like there's a lot of failure and
Well,
falling down.
I think the reason that works so well is that, like, truth be told, at like on a surface level, it's not a football movie.
No, it's not.
This is like a movie about overcoming differences, overcoming prejudices, overcoming histories, and just like generational.
Breaking barriers.
Yeah, it's about that through the medium of football.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it is such a good football movie, because football is such a good medium for that to happen for. So I'm so glad that that was based on a true story.
Yeah. Well, and I will say that I think that's the one truly like awesome, unique thing about sports is that sports that obviously hasn't always been like this, but especially in the most recent time, that sounded really dumb how I phrased that. In the more recent years, like sports have become that medium where like it bridges the gap between all people, right? And everyone is welcome to watch sports and try sports and like find your thing. And like you can come from wealth and poverty, right? Happiness and sadness, and you can find that like middle ground that people enjoy.
On like at least with football on the football field, there are no labels. There is no wealth. There's just football.
It's just football.
So like I think I guess to make a note about football and not about Remember the Titans, but kind of about Remember the Titans. That's why good coaches are so crucial. Because like I know that like Andy Reid has on his wall in his office, I can't remember exactly what it says, but it's just a note card that it just says don't judge, because you never know where anybody came from or what they're dealing with. And like obviously they touch on that with Remember the Titans, with the backgrounds of everybody, Coach Boone forcing everybody to get to know one another before the end of camp.
Yeah. And I think probably one of the things that I picked up this time versus my previous watch throughs of this movie is like, I don't know. I always viewed like Coach Boone as someone who was very stubborn, right? Like I always thought that he was quick to throw out blame for like being prejudiced and not willing to change to all the other people, but then he doesn't do it himself. And I mean, that's pretty obvious too. He does do a lot of that, but I think this time around I noticed that, I don't know, I picked up that he doesn't do it because he's stuck in his way and is prideful. He does it because I like what he says when he's like, the real world doesn't care about the future of these kids' success, right? It doesn't matter what color you are, like it doesn't care. So I'm not going to coddle these kids because that's what's going to hold them back.
Yeah, it's what's waiting for them in the future is reality. Yeah, I mean,
it's just that's a lesson that I never picked up, right? I think it's probably because I was a kid and I was like, no.
Yeah,
But
the maturity of this movie really hits you a little harder. One,
when you're older,
but two, like having a better and deeper understanding of that era of time, and what it was like for for like those communities. Like
I really got the vibe that the movie is it's not just trying to tell the story of an interracial, like one of the first interracial football teams and the success that they had and their story. The movie is like so much more than that. And it has lessons and takeaways that you can apply even now outside of like the racial and barriers that were just going on in general, right?
Yeah.
Racial and non-racial during that time. There's lessons you can take from that and apply now, right? Especially the coddling of children, right? Because I used to think that my parents were rough for like sometimes giving me a reality, especially in high school, like allowing me to run out of gas in my car or, you know, having to buy parts for my truck over and over and over again because I replaced it wrong and it kept ruining it, right? Like making me pay my own way, you know, not being like the shoulder to my parent. Okay. My parents were the shoulder to cry on, but like not, you know what I'm trying to say? Not
Yeah,
like
I'm like
sheltering me from heartbreak.
No, they're not. They're not like they're not putting you in a bubble.
I'm so very glad now that is what I went through growing up, because at the time I thought it was really hard and it was really irritating and I struggled with it. But now I realize that was probably the purest form of love that my parents could have showed me, right? Because it really prepared me and helped me not be so culture shocked when I left the house. And that's something that I picked up this time watching the movie, where I was like, that's exactly what Coach Boone was doing. And the times where he seems like he's stuck in his ways and he's being arrogant, he's doing it because he is trying to have his kids, his football kids, you know, see past football, right?
And like, you know, obviously it's like another thing that I caught that I don't think I had before in this rewatch is that like the tension of like race like never fully went away. And I'm not saying that in the sense like by the end of the movie no one's racist anymore, but I mean that like the butting heads with the main characters on the football team and on the coaching staff that like arises mostly because of race happens throughout the movie, even well into the third act. And like it just is even more of a reality check of what it is, what it was, and the message that this movie was trying to convey, that like it's really hard to get away from things like this.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to overcome them even when you feel like you have.
Yeah.
Right? And like I think like for me the easiest example to come to my mind is like at one point into the second act, it had become very well established that Gary and Julius were brothers and that they loved each other and that they could look past race, that they would do anything for one another. And then Gary's mom, who is prejudiced, doesn't want Gary to go hang out with Julius. And so the next time they see each other practice, like rather than Gary explaining himself and saying like, hey, my mom, she didn't want me, whatever, he just says like, don't talk to me, man. Don't talk to me. Which like to me seems like an incorrect reaction, but not one that I can't say isn't, I guess, like validated for the time.
Well, and race aside, just like prejudices that you have that are rooted after, not that like me and my family had any, because we came from a background where we were always taught to not have prejudice because we were usually the people were prejudiced against, right? Coming from that kind of a background and just kind of like knowing what I know now as an adult, like when something happens that like, I don't know, that's comes from someone that you love, whether it's your families or your friends, and then other people call you out on it, even when you know it's wrong, it's hard to buck that, right? Like so many times do you find yourself doing that in school where one of your old friends was like, I knew you've changed, right? Because you're hanging out with the cool kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you don't know them. But deep down inside, you're like, yeah, no, really. These guys are being terrible, but it's hard for me to bring myself to say I'm wrong and I'm not doing anything to fight that, right? That happens in any kind of situation. And it's really cool to kind of watch this happen in this movie and watch like how I don't know, it's cool to see the accountability, right? Especially when it comes to the race things where you can see like Ray trying to do like, I don't know. You just see that a lot of times where they're like Julius will call him out for being like, hey, you know, don't pee down my back and tell me it's raining, right? Like, if you're going to do something, if you're going to come down on me and tell me how to be a better athlete, then you got to show it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like taking that to heart.
One of my favorite quotes from this movie, there's so many, but it is Julius saying, attitude reflects leadership, captain.
Yeah.
And that like hitting Gary to his soul. And like pretty quickly after that, you see everything change because literally pretty much the scene following is the strong side, left side.
Yeah.
Like them bonding. It's like I definitely think that I've said this about a few movies that we've talked about on this podcast, but Remember the Titans is certainly one of the greatest showings of actor to actor chemistry that I've ever seen. Because like it really does feel like even just in the middle of the movie after camp that all these guys on the team are brothers. The whole like all the soul power thing, the scene of them having their own team meeting in the gymnasium and coming together to be better. Like it moves me.
Yeah. Well, and watching them all, like, I don't know, watching the entire movie be told from a past, like, this is who we are and this is how we came to be.
Yeah.
Right.
It's starting at
the funeral,
at Gary's funeral, and ending at it as well.
Yeah.
Which I guess this is definitely kind of a side note, but Cheryl, Yost's daughter, I think probably has one of the greatest like young to adult actresses ever. The lady that they cast to play older Cheryl looks exactly like her. So much like her. So props to the casting director for finding that.
Yeah. Well, and never mind. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something. I had something.
Was it something along the lines of where we are and how we came to be? Or was it about Cheryl?
Can't remember.
Must have been a lie.
But again, it's just a good football movie, right? It falls into a category of football movies that I enjoy. That, I mean, I've seen fictional football movies and I've seen like crazy untold, like dramatized, like Rudy. Rudy is a movie that is based on a true story, but it's
altered heavily.
It's propped up, right? And then there's like the movies that are just based on like true stories, like this one, and then one that I love, Invincible, right? Those kind of movies, like themselves, are just.
I forgot I had that until you said that.
Oh, shoot.
My favorite football movie, based on a comic book.
No, those are just they both are. I'm not going to talk about Invincible because it's that's a different movie and it's a different message.
Yeah.
But these true story ones where they're based on like actual barriers that people had to push through, those were always really good for me and stuff that I've always latched onto because it's always been like something where I have my, as does every human, right? But I have my own barriers, and despite like there's no setback there's no like self-appointed setback too big.
Yeah.
Right? Because our setbacks are always magnified by ourselves, and we always go, I can't do this, right? I'm a bartender. There's no way I can play for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Or I'm a black kid in
Segregated Virginia.
60s segregated Virginia, where so I can't play football. They're never going to accept me, right? Or I'm a black coach who was just given this job because they
redistrict. They changed the districts in Virginia, and they're creating a new high school essentially, and they need a head coach, and they're not gonna use the old one.
Right.
Which, like, I think obviously, like,
these barriers aren't too big.
Yeah, but I I think kind of like an underrated story, I guess, at least like at the beginning, is Yost. Obviously, like, it is very clear that the direction that they wanted his character to take was being not fully understanding and then becoming understanding. But like, it does definitely start out with two coaches who one with Coach Boone has been prejudiced against because of his race and because of like him coaching football in North Carolina and just like getting moved to this new place in Virginia. And then Yost feeling like he's been prejudiced against because he had been a legacy high school head coach, helped his teams win multiple championships. He was going to be inducted into the Virginia High School Hall of Fame. And then all of a sudden, this new law passes, the school district changes lines, and they merge a high school together into a new one, and all of a sudden he's out of a job.
He's out of a job, and then he gets a job underneath the position that he once was, and then he's told the entire movie, hey, you can't do this. Hey, you have to do this. Hey, if you want to be in the Hall of Fame, throw the game. Don't worry. Don't play, right? I actually thought that his character was really well written. They're all really well written, but I think that his part was a part that I identified more with, right? Because he was thrown into a world where you can tell that he doesn't really have prejudice.
Yeah, you can tell he doesn't care as much.
No, he just is upset that he lost his job, and he's trying to find a way to bounce back and be himself, but find his footing in this new role, right? Which I feel like is the ultimate like life lesson, right? Because that's what I've noticed that adult life is bouncing around and trying to find footing in all of the roles that are handed to you, right? And like when his daughter tells him not to be proud, right? Stop being so proud. Like, that's a big scene. And that actually hit me a lot more now because oftentimes I feel like I set myself back because of my pride, right?
And it's even more given that, like, not too farther earlier, he's accusing Coach Boone of having sinful pride because of what happened to his daughter. And then just a little while later, his daughter's the one telling him he's the one that has the sinful pride. And so that retrospective,
good messaging in this movie,
it hits him right in the face. And then everything changes.
Well, let's talk this. Let's bring this to a little bit of a less heavy note. The music, Trev.
Good stuff. I mean, it's like Walt Disney. I mean, I could be wrong on this. I'm going to guess right now who did the music, and I think it was
Jerry Bruckheimer.
He produced it.
I know.
I think it was Trevor Rabin, same guy who did National Treasure. But I'm gonna check real quick.
While Trevor's doing this, I will entertain you. I don't know how to entertain you. This is usually
Oh my
Trevor's
gosh, I
thing.
can't find it.
This is usually what he does. He's
Oh my
usually
gosh.
he's usually on the ball on this one. So please excuse Trevor while he experiences some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trevor Rabin. I'm a nerd.
But it's not. Is there? There is. I heard it, but there's very little actual like original soundtrack.
Yeah, the motif, like there's like the moments of inspiration and accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
The that thing
Mm-hmm.
that is like when it, like I think part of the artistic reasoning with not having as much of a score and so much, like it's very minimal.
It grounds you.
There's
to the
just
film.
I think for the most part it's just like snare drum on occasion
Mm-hmm.
when Boone is talking because he's the authority figure and he needs to be heard. So that just,
Yeah.
reminiscent of army movies.
But
about-
the songs they do pick outside of that.
Yeah, the actual soundtrack for the movie.
Ugh.
I
Golden.
said when we were watching it that like it is like you could argue that like the choices of songs is better than any Guardians of the Galaxy film, which I say now that like maybe you shouldn't compare them when like
They're the same
like
soundtrack.
70% of the songs picked for Remember the Titans are in somewhere in all three
yeah.
Guardians films.
Yeah. But it had good music. That's something that I actually, like I said about 5 seconds ago, it makes the movie feel extremely grounded, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Using like obviously I actually don't know if this is true. I'm sorry if I cut you off.
nope, go ahead.
But like in the
Slightly
montages, like in the middle of the movie and during the credits, I'm pretty sure, at least it's just what it seems like to me. I've not researched this at all. But I'm pretty sure that they just use like behind the scenes footage and just put it in the film as part of the montage.
Mhm.
Like the scene in the montage where like the Titans are going undefeated and the community loves them, and so on the local diner it writes Titans eat free, and then it cuts to Gary and whoever else, can't remember who else, but them just like
I think it's
folding
blue.
folding waffles and then like chopping them down. Then it cuts to the owner erasing free off of it because like
Yeah.
they probably just went and just challenged themselves to eat as much as possible. And like, along with what I was saying about the chemistry between these guys being so good, like those little bits
Mhm.
were
And the song choices that they chose to portray those.
long, cool woman in a black dress.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that
Spirit in the Sky.
that song, like woman in a black dress,
Around,
literally
Down, 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 down,
to
down.
me is just it's a football song.
Yeah.
It makes me think of football. It makes me think of fall.
I think of Forrest Gump. But that also was going on at that time.
Yeah, he does play football.
Mhm.
I just kept running. Yeah, the song choices and the soundtrack
Mhm.
for this movie.
Oh,
are,
I remember what I was-
world class.
I remember what I was going to say way back when I said I forgot. I I could be wrong. I probably should have looked this up before I just blatantly say it out loud, but I'm gonna do it. I don't know if this was like a rumor mill or something, but I was pretty sure that the stuff shown on Gary's TV when he's in the hospital
Is the actual
is
footage.
the actual footage of the games.
I think all but the very first one that's shown when
Like when they're
doing
dancing.
That,
Yeah.
I think that is superimposed.
Like the touchdowns and stuff for
Yeah.
like I'm pretty sure that is
the footage.
like the actual footage
You
from the
probably
games.
would be right. I think
And
at
I
some
love when
point
movies do
in
that.
the same like in the mid montage that they do show a few
Mhm.
like actual clips from
Yeah.
the season.
And I am a sucker when any movie, any true story does that, when they use
Real news footage or
Yeah.
real
yeah,
actual footage from the events with the real people.
yeah,
Blend it seamlessly like
Mm.
that.
yeah. They do it. I love when they do stuff like that. Anyways, that was the fun fact that actually that came back to me.
Well, welcome back.
But other than that, that's about all I got. Like, it's a good movie. If you haven't, if by some crazy reason
If
you've been
either
living
your
under a
family
rock
didn't grow up
for the
watching
last 25
sports,
years,
if your family didn't grow up watching sports, or if you yourself just aren't very into sports or very into football, if you haven't been able to tell, if you've made it this far, the only times we really talked about football is at the very beginning. We were talking about our experiences with football, and the little bit we were talking about the football strategy they showcase in this movie.
mm-hmm.
It's a movie about learning to love through the medium of football.
It's not just a football movie.
Mm-mm. It's called Remember the Titans, not because
Or how good they
went
were.
undefeated and won the state championship.
But
It's because you want to remember
what they stood for.
their legacy.
Yeah.
Because they were the inaugural Titans.
Mm-hmm.
You want to remember them.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's like a part where Coach Boone says to remember the Titans in Greek mythology, and then when Coach Yost says that you want the opposing team to remember forever Titans.
Mm-hmm. So I would go watch this movie. If by some fat chance you've never seen this, go watch it.
It is a
It's
must watch.
so much
from me.
more than a sports movie. And as you can tell, that this movie has had a lasting impact on me and Trevor.
I get goosebumps several
Mhm.
times during the movie, and I even will tear up
It's,
if I'm in the right mood.
It's an inspirational conglomerate that just always hits the right spot.
I implore you, with all the fervor of my soul, go watch Remember the Titans.
The fervor.
Not the fervor. If you don't have Disney Plus, I just have a feeling you'll find it in the Walmart dollar bin.
Mm-hmm.
It's always there. It's your gold nugget
Yeah.
that you've been panning for. When you are sitting at night and you're bored, you don't want to be on your phone, or you don't want to play a game, you just want to watch a movie, but you can't figure out what you want to watch. Remember the Titans.
Mhm.
It's barely, it's not even 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth every second.
Tears.
Well, I have nothing else to say. You have anything else you want to say?
Oh no.
Um,
No, I do not.
Everyone, I can feel your pity through the camera for his and my football teams this season.
Mhm.
And you know what? I appreciate it, but it's not going to help.
We did this to ourselves.
But you know what? Watching every gosh dang game.
Yeah.